We have to address something. We have to stop saying, how does the dream version of yourself show up? How does the future version of ourselves go about their each and every day? The ideal version of yourself is not some separate entity that exists in a future space. They already exist within you. All we need to do is learn the tools to allow ourselves to show up as that person starting today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to start effectively changing our lives and how to knock down the barrier between us and our ideal versions of ourselves. So make a tea, get comfy, and let's get into it. Sorry if you see me looking to the side. I took a bunch of notes and wrote out my thoughts. So how do we start showing up as the ideal version of ourselves? The first and absolutely crucial step in all of this is learning how to trust yourself. Because how are we going to achieve our goals and be the ideal version of ourselves if we can't even trust ourselves to get there? I think that self-doubt is the biggest cause of feeling stuck. Because how are we going to do and be the person that we want to be if we're constantly undermining our abilities, if we're constantly not feeling worthy, if we're not thinking that we are capable? How do we go about building this trust in ourselves? It's kind of a big concept. And I think that starts with getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and facing things that scare you, even if it starts small. For me, this started with my fitness journey. About a year ago, I decided that I wanted to start going to the gym and taking it seriously. Throughout my life, I have gone to the gym, but I usually just hop on the treadmill for 30 minutes and I'm out because I was very scared of being embarrassed and looking dumb. But this year, I decided it was going to be different, and I really started to acquire a passion for fitness and for learning. I started being okay with being uncomfortable with looking dumb because my form was probably really bad since I was just starting out. I started getting okay with being uncomfortable that I would have to pull out my phone and watch tutorials while I was working out. When I started doing progressive overload, I started to learn how to be okay with going down for a squat and not being sure if I can make it back up. Each of these small but mighty things really scared me at first, but once I showed myself that I could do something that I was doubtful I could do before I tried it, it helped me trust myself immensely. And this started in the gym and then carried into other areas of my life. I started to realize that I can do the things that I set out to do. I am capable of doing anything I put my mind to. For example, I started going to workout classes by myself that I'd never been to before. And once I got a little bit of confidence from that, I started going to try new cafes and new restaurants by myself. And once I got comfortable with that, I even went to a concert by myself. And each one of these scenarios, while they may not have been drastically life-changing in itself, showed me that I could do those things and show up for myself, even when sometimes going into it, I had no idea how it was going to go, no idea how I was going to handle it, but I did. This mindset not only carried into goals and activities that I wanted to try, but also to challenges that I faced. Now that I had this newfound sense of trust in myself, I knew that I could figure out whatever I put my mind to as long as I faced it head on and took action. And a lot of the time prior to building this trust in myself, I would let my fear and self-doubt get me stuck. I wouldn't want to cope with anything because I wasn't sure if I could make it through that situation. But again, starting small in different areas of my life, showing myself that I could handle obstacles, I could handle challenges, I could figure out situations that in the beginning seemed hopeless or really intimidating. Knowing that you can show up for yourself and take care of yourself is what builds that foundation of trust. Now you might be saying, what if I put myself in these situations and I fail? Which is where we come to my second point. Being perfectionists makes us procrastinators. We put off any action because we want the journey to be flawless, but that is an innately flawed philosophy. The difference between us and our ideal self is not that they are perfect and don't make mistakes, but rather that they have learned from those mistakes and adapted accordingly. If we never made mistakes, we would simply never learn. And it's important to start seeing mistakes as steps in the journey and failure as redirection instead of shortcomings on our part. The best thing that we can be is adaptable. Life inevitably ebbs and flows. There is going to be roadblocks along the way, no matter what you do. And so it's important that we show up anyway, even when it's hard, even when it seems hopeless, even when you feel like crap that day. It is important to ask ourselves how we can make progress towards our goals, even in unideal circumstances. Failure, mistakes, and unexpected roadblocks are not a sign to give up, but rather a chance to stop, learn, and adjust accordingly. That's how we become better. That's how we improve. That's how we get closer to our goals and our ideal version of ourselves each and every day. Lastly, I think it's important to accept that everything is happening for you and not to you. Everything serves as an opportunity, whether that's a blessing or a lesson, which, spoiler alert, is also a blessing. We cannot control anything other than ourselves, which is a little unnerving to say out loud at first, but then it is absolutely freeing because once we accept that, everything becomes a lot simpler. All we can control is ourselves, other people's reactions, other circumstances. Us attempting to be perfect and control those things does not change them. All we can control is how we adapt, how we act, what we do. Ultimately, all we can do is show up, do our best, learn and adapt where we can, and let the rest happen. Once we learn how to trust ourselves, stop expecting perfection, learn how to adapt, and accept that we cannot control anything other than ourselves, it becomes much easier to move towards our goals and less likely that we're going to feel stuck. Remember, the ideal version of yourself does not have to be created. You just have to allow yourself to start showing up as them. Everything you desire already exists within you, and you are perfectly capable of achieving all of it and more. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that there was something that you could take away from it. This is my first sort of video doing this, talking like this to you. I will be posting more talking videos like this, so if you're interested, please feel free to subscribe, comment, and share your thoughts and feelings, and I hope to see you in my next video.